Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the OA podcast where we have lots of opinions, but most of them are pretty average. I'm Monica.
And I'm Anna. In the last few years, everything from gas, groceries, egg prices, you name it, it seems like everything has just gotten so expensive, right, Mon? You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. So last year we did like a really fun episode on money and just like people asking for money advice and stuff like that. So we thought it'd be fun to kind of bring it back since, it's still the beginning of the year and most of us are just trying to be more mindful of things that we
Yeah.
spend and all that. So yeah, we thought it'd
Yeah.
be cool to do an episode on money. So here we are. So Mon,
Cool.
how's your wallet doing?
Whew. Ooh, it's getting ready. I mean, I think it's fine for now, but it's getting
It's getting
ready.
ready. It's getting ready. Yes,
I'm
yes.
about to put it through some stuff
Yeah.
on this so-called trip that we're
Yes.
secretive
Yes.
about.
Oh, that was our secret. Okay. So it's coming up, guys. Or
It's coming up.
by the time this drops, I think you'll be
I'll be
gone.
back.
Oh, you'll be back. It'll be
I'll
like
be
I
back.
think, yeah, you'll be back. Okay.
Ooh,
So by the
time
time
travel.
this comes out, Mon will be broke.
Yes, so perfect timing.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So, it's the beginning of the year, and the beginning of the year is always rough for everyone because we all just came from the holidays and there's a
We
lot of
spent a
spending
lot of
going on.
money
Yeah,
on
yeah.
gifts.
Hmm.
We've returned stuff. So our money's been fluctuating the last
Yeah,
like couple of
yeah,
months.
yeah.
So, let's talk about I guess like some of the articles that we found.
Yeah, yeah.
We pulled up some in kind of random places, a little bit of here, a little bit of there. So,
Mhm.
um let's go over where we got our original moneyest
Mhm.
articles
Mhm.
from Market Watch. Isn't that the
Yes.
place that like you needed like a subscription to like
Yeah,
read
there's
these?
some that has like I found like one or two. So it's basically this guy, his name is Quentin. I don't know his
Oh
last
yes,
name, but
Clinton.
yeah, but he's the moneyest and people it's basically like a Dear Abby for money. Like people ask
Yes.
advice. There's all kinds of different topics. So it's not necessarily about how crazy expensive things have gotten, but we'll just each share like an article or two that we found were interesting then we could chat about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least from this one, it's
Mhm.
from like a consolidated thing from like the top most articles of Moneyest from
Mhm.
2024. So these are like excuse me, these are like the crazier, maybe
Like
crazier
they're the
topics.
more OA ones.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I like it. Yes, the one that stood out to me.
You
Oh
go
God,
first because I feel like my first one is like a little heavy. It's just deep. So I don't like starting super deep, and I always like us to end on like a happy note. So I think I've got those covered. So you
okay.
start.
Ooh, a deep and it's a happy note.
Yeah, deep
Okay.
and happy. Okay.
Oh, okay. I figured this one's kind of like relative to what I'm going to do since I'm going on a trip. The article title, it says, "Our loyalty isn't worth anything. I paid $70 for a seat with more legroom, but two women grabbed similar empty seats for free. Is
I said
that fair?"
please expect. Is there information on like how does she know they got theirs for free?
Let's see,
Okay,
let's
keep going.
see.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Keep
no, I
going.
mean, I only read like the the title, so I was like, but I didn't read the rest of the
Mhm.
stuff. Hold on. Hold, please.
Okay.
It says, "Dear Moneyest, on a recent flight on American Airlines, I used my frequent flyer miles to buy an upgrade to a seat in a row with significantly more legroom.
Okay.
It was around 6,900 miles, or approximately $70 if you paid in cash." Which is crazy. That just doesn't match up for me
That seems like
personally.
a lot of miles for like a little bit of cash. But I'm not
Yeah.
one of those like nerds when it comes
Yeah,
to
me
like the
neither. I don't
points. Yeah.
understand that whole
Yeah.
thing, but
Okay.
apparently it's $70.
Okay.
Um, the flight was about one third empty, and there was no one sitting across from me in the pay more for more legroom row.
Mhm.
And there was no one in the row in front of that, which I think was
Okay.
an exit row, but which costs even more for an upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
After the flight attendant announced that everyone was on board and that the doors were closed, two women, a mother and a daughter, as far as I could tell, went from standard seats and sprinted. She like put it in all caps. Sprinted
Wow.
for the two pay more seats
Mm-hmm.
and took a seat in each.
Ooh, okay.
They're not even in the same row, so like
Wait,
they
so
like
it's
spread out.
oh, so because it was only half full.
Yeah, essentially
Okay, okay.
third room. And the flight attendants didn't say anything to them.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the flight reached cruising altitude, the daughter, who was in like her 20s,
Mm-hmm.
laid down across all three seats and slept there for the entire flight.
Wow.
Again, the flight attendants didn't say anything. I felt slighted because I had paid for my seat and I'm a very loyal American Airlines customer. Okay, I'm saying this as if like I'm her, okay? I don't know what's going on. I wrote to the airline. Wow, that was like
God
Karen.
dang, lady.
Uh,
Okay.
I wrote to the airline to explain what had happened and
Mm-hmm.
asked for a refund of my miles. They emailed back, but they didn't refund my miles. It was as if they hadn't read my email. With a little time having passed, I realized, besides being bent out of shape, an interesting and contradictory message is sent by allowing this practice. First, don't buy an upgrade, even with miles, if the flight isn't appearing full. Next, as soon as the flight is almost fully boarded, be sure that you have scoped out the empty seats and have a strategy for quickly moving to the empty pay more seats as the doors close announcement is made, if not sooner. If someone boards late and has one of those seats, you just have to return to your standard seat. Also, if the whole pay more row is full, go crazy and take it all by lying down as soon
Oh
as the
my
airline
God.
is at cruising altitude. God forbid one should be charitable and offer one of the pay more seats to someone who might actually really need it. God, this lady's crazy.
Wow. Okay.
Customers who are loyal and don't follow the customers who are loyal and follow the rules and use their American airline miles to properly upgrade don't really matter. Their loyalty isn't worth anything. Plus, flight attendants apparently really don't care if someone moves to a pay more seat. But here's an interesting question. How would they have reacted if one of those women moved into a business class or a first class seat? I'm sure that American Airlines doesn't want it to go viral that everyone should behave the way that these two women did. Finally, do customer complaints and requests carry any weight at all these days? Does anyone actually read them? A side note, the same thing happened to me on a JetBlue flight to California a couple of years ago. Same scenario, except the non paying sprinter didn't lie down because two of the seats were already taken. When I contacted JetBlue, they did refund my cash payment for the upgrade. Okay, so I know I'm obsessed about this. I'm glad she knows that she's obsessed
It
about
is a little
this.
much.
She admits that's true, and right or not, I took a picture of the young woman as she was fast asleep across the three rows. Oh, correction. It's signed as a traveling man.
What?
Sorry to have
It,
assumed this was a Karen. It's
yeah.
a Kevin.
Oh, wait, what? I'm in shock.
Oh,
What
plot
are you?
twist. Sorry. Okay, sorry for anyone who's named like Kevin. My brother in law's named Kevin.
Oh my God. I
But,
totally thought Karen first.
oh, God.
Apologies to Karen, but I,
Sorry.
oh my God, I
It
have
is a
met,
traveling man. Okay,
wow.
sir.
Okay.
You are you are
Tripping.
crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Can I
Not
tell
the old
you?
school tripping, but
Tripping.
tripping.
Can I tell you? I have many thoughts.
Tell me your thoughts.
Okay. Okay, when I first saw this article, I kind of like I saw this. So Mon and I both research, like we decide a couple days before what we're gonna talk about, and we both do a little bit of research. I came across this and I didn't really read it. I just read like the title.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what
same.
I thought he meant, I thought it was a she automatically. I thought it was a
Yeah.
she. I thought what she meant was that like they sat in her row. You know
Yeah.
what like for example, if you're I would have been annoyed. So for example, like you know how when you all fly, we all wait until the end when you have an empty seat next to you and
Mm,
you're like, please,
yes.
please let there be no one sitting next to me when flying
Exactly. Yeah.
coach. Yeah, we're all excited about that.
That's
So
normal.
if there was, I think for me, if there was two empty seats, so I had a row of three on my own or a row of four, whatever.
Sure.
If one person came, I would be like, whatever. If two people came and kind of messed that up, I'd be like, ugh. But that's
No.
only if they weren't assigned those seats, like if they were just
Right.
trying to hop on or whatever.
Sure.
But dude, they didn't even go into your row. Who gives a shit? Like, I wouldn't care. I honestly,
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't care about that. So it sounds like it, like, basically she was in the economy.
He.
He was in the economy section, right? So we all
Yeah.
know in the economy section there are places you can upgrade. So like
Yeah.
exactly what he said, the emergency exit has more room, so you can
Hmm.
upgrade there. You could also upgrade like there, yeah, just like in the front row and all that kind of stuff. Like it's a little bit of an upgrade, which is sounds like what he did since it was only like $60 or whatever. But
Yeah.
like I think that who gives a shit if they're not intruding in your space? And
Mm.
regarding the fact that you did that, like I always check and see, like maybe a week or two before how full
Sure.
the flight is. And if it looks like it's going to be empty, I wouldn't upgrade. I would just be like, maybe I'll get a row to my own. Maybe I'll get
Yeah.
to like move or whatever. I wouldn't even waste, even though it's only $60. And we're here talking about how expensive everything $60 goes a long way these days, or it
Absolutely.
doesn't go a long way, but every dollar counts, right? This is insane. Like, who cares? And that's your fault for upgrading. Like, you should have checked. If you saw that it was halfway empty, you should
Yeah.
have just let it go, because there's a good
Yeah.
chance you would have gotten your own row, right?
Yeah. Or maybe you should have taken it upon yourself to also sprint to one of those seats. There, it seemed like the mother and daughter, they took the approach of ask for forgiveness first. What was it called? It's better to ask forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, they just took the opportunity. And yeah, like worst thing that could happen is like, sorry, you cannot do that. Go back to your seat.
Right, right. Yeah.
I mean, this guy seems just very jealous that he didn't take the opportunity at hand and do something for himself. I don't know why
Yeah.
you have to like be so mad about someone else
Yeah. But
taking
he's a
advantage of the situation.
he's a loyal American airline probably a very, like people out there don't really want to like rock the boat or whatever. But I have like
Sure.
two things I want to add. So like I
Hmm.
flew recently, American Airlines. It was actually my first time flying American, and I think it was just for us to just say like we know there's been like a handful of tragedies recently
Oh,
to with the airline. So like it's just so sad that that happens. But like I flew right around that time, and for American, it was just like this, like a half full flight, like
hmm.
and they actually were spreading people out for weight. So that's like
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
that it has to be like balanced or whatever.
For
So
like literal physics.
yes, yes. So they did that. And one time, Ab and I, when we went
Hmm.
to Iceland like years, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it was right after COVID, and it was a very, very empty plane. And
Hmm.
we upgraded to get the better seats, even though it was an empty plane. I don't know I think we just wanted like premium economy or something like that.
Hmm.
They actually took it away from us because the plane was so empty and they had to spread everyone out. So it was like, there was maybe like,
Oh,
for example, like say it held like 150 people, like the flight, and there was only like maybe 60 people. It
that's
was right
crazy.
after COVID. Like we still had to show our vaccines and all that stuff. So we
Hmm.
actually got our money back, and
Okay.
had to like spread out for balance as well. So man, you're tripping.
I mean, I guess in that sense, if you paid for the upgrade, right, you want to get a better seat,
Mhm.
but in if they had to make a switch and everyone got affected and everyone got spread out,
Yeah.
of course you would ask for a refund because it's like, yo, I asked for
Right, right.
an upgrade, and that's what the guy did. He paid
Mhm.
his miles to get an upgrade. You got what you asked for. You got
Right,
what you
right.
paid for. He just sounds like one of those people who are like, don't pay off their loans. I paid off mine, so they don't get to pay off theirs.
Oh,
You know,
right,
that kind of
right. Yeah.
situation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe he's a
I'm
boomer.
yeah. Immediately when you said, um, like I just this is very this is me stereotyping, but it's kind
Mm.
of like this has to be an older person. This has to be a person with like way too much time on their hands to
Mm.
like write a complaint and
Yes, to
like who
both
yeah,
American Airlines and
and
JetBlue.
JetBlue. Like I honestly like in the whole like the lady that like laid down on her seat, like who or like the daughter. It's like, how is it affecting you? Like you have
Yeah.
your it sounds like you have your own role. Like when I travel, like
Hmm.
that's all I care. Like, you know, we don't have the money to fly business. We've flown premium economy before, but typically we're in an economy seat. If Ab and I have our own row, that's like we're
Luxury.
hell happy already.
Heck
I
yeah.
don't care. Yeah.
But do you know that like at some airlines, I don't know which airlines do this, but they're offering now the option to like you can pay for like a whole row to yourself. I don't
Really?
know how much it costs. It sounds like it'd be
Mm,
expensive, but
mhm.
you can like literally just call it, some of them call it like sky beds or whatever, because you can lay down if you want to,
Yeah.
like
No,
across
it's
all
like
three seats.
when it's us two and we have a three-seater, dude, it's super fine. Like it's totally fine. Like you have
Yeah.
your snacks in the middle, you're like, you know,
Yes. More elbow
it's great.
room,
Yeah.
you
I'm
know?
totally okay with that. So when we came back from the Philippines like a month ago or whatever, it was a very like not very full flight and it was weird like the row we were in there was three of us. So we were all
Okay.
screwed because we were three in one
Hmm.
row, but the row in front of us and the row behind us only had one person each. So they
Oh.
had their own row. So see, Av did something here, which I don't know if the other person was mad, but he jumped into one of those rows
Ah.
and like
Did he ask?
basically he asked
Okay.
he'll ask the like late the flight attendant and they're like, sure, go ahead. So there was two of them and the guy didn't seem like he might. I wouldn't mind. I mean, you already have the one seat between you. For me, I'm
Hmm.
happy with that one seat already.
Yeah.
So we were like it was fine. Like we didn't sit together. He sat behind me, but we
Hmm.
each had the seat, you know,
You at
in the
least had an extra
middle.
space. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was this other thing that happened on that flight where, you know how like sometimes on the very, very back row, it's just one seat, like one or two seats. And I think they maybe save it for
Oh.
the flight attendants to sit in. I don't know. But
Oh,
like,
like the jump seats?
yeah, I'm not sure. It was a regular seat, but
Oh.
both ways we flew Eva Air. Both ways, no one was sitting in those seats. And this
Okay.
guy asked the flight
Flight attendant.
attendant,
Uh-huh.
he was like, I have claustrophobia. Can I sit in that seat? And I was
Oh.
like, oh my God, what a good hack. Like, and he totally got to sit in that. So he had like a two-seater
First of
by,
all, what are you doing
by
on a plane?
yeah. But I was just like, wow, I had never heard that before. I was like, dang, what an excuse. But yeah,
Yeah.
he got to sit in a two-seater the entire flight. So I was like, wow,
And
that's a
did he
good
have to
one.
pay? No. Was
No,
somebody mad? Maybe,
no.
but
I don't know. Did they write Eva Air? I don't
ugh,
know.
shoot. I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like this person and whatever tone I used, I
Mhm.
mean, at the sounded like that's what they were gonna say. Yeah, they were just very petty about it.
Wow. What
I
did
think,
Quentin say, Mon? Did Quentin like,
yes.
okay, let's hear
So
what he has to say.
he says, "Dear traveling, um, buckle up, tighten your seatbelt, and brace for some turbulence." Okay, Quentin. He's getting ready. Anyway, he says, yes, it is fair game to snag some extra wiggle room at 30,000 feet. You paid for the equivalent of $70 for an upgrade to a more comfortable seat, and two people saw an opportunity and went for it. They got to sit in one of your seats with ample leg room for free. The flight attendants either didn't care or turned a blind eye or thought that those empty seats may as well be used by somebody, but they were not usurping those seats from someone who had paid $70. Okay, usurping, that's a very fancy word. Taking over, I assume,
Mhm,
is what that means.
mhm. It's like hijacking, I think.
Okay, yeah. You paid for, quote, more legroom seat. That's true, but you also paid for the guarantee seat. You paid for the guarantee of a seat with more
Mm-hmm.
legroom. Airlines have an ad hoc policy when it comes to who sits where. They have the flexibility to move someone to an exit row seat because they are strong enough or willing enough to open the emergency door if need be. They get to stretch out their legs as a reward. If you were given an upgrade to first class and a fellow passenger cried foul, would you sheepishly schlep back to economy? Ooh, the alliteration. The line between ethics and etiquette is sometimes a fine line. Did they hurt anyone by taking these seats? No. Sure, the airline did not get its $70, but these two passengers saw an opportunity and grabbed it,
Mm-hmm.
literally and figuratively. They
Yes.
probably had fun doing it and it made their flight more rewarding. Plus, they may not have wished to pay an extra $70 like you did. The correct way of approaching this would be to ask, "May I take this row after the doors close?" In the interest of goodwill, the attendants might say yes. If the move is to a row in premium economy, and the airline may choose to decline
Mm-hmm.
because it could damage the goodwill of the customer who paid for the extra legroom, which is you. Flight attendants are there for your safety and they may not take notice of every seat jumper, but I have seen them decline and approve such requests. He says, and now a confession. Couple of years ago, a standby passenger got on my transatlantic flight and eyed the aisle seat in my 3-seat row. There were other empty seats, so I said, "Don't even think about it." He replied, "What?" And I said, "I have an entire row to lie on, and now you're going to spoil it." I asked him if he was an undercover agent. He said no, obviously, but he took the seat. He said, "I like you," and sat down.
Oh, wow. That sucks. That's literally what Ab did. Like he ruined a but the person, no one said anything and he
Yeah.
asked for permission. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And then he just ends on a final note. Taking their photo is probably a step too far.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really creeper thing to
Yeah,
do.
that is.
I
Kevin.
understand that you were upset that this mother and daughter duo had behaved in what you believe was a gauche or grabby manner, but there's too much citizen journalism where people publicly shame private citizens with viral photos and videos. A TikToker recently outed a passenger with a wedding ring talking to a woman on a flight who was allegedly not his
Oh
wife. Thankfully, you did not go that far.
my
Even if you
God.
sit in premium economy, it's better to be a first class guy. Wow.
Wow,
Go
that's a
you,
good
Quentin.
one. That's a
I
good
like
one.
that.
I like that.
That's a good
Yeah.
closer.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, that's just like, for the two women that did it, you didn't pay for anything, right? You didn't pay for
No.
anything extra. You're taking your chances. It can
Yeah.
go either way.
Yes.
This guy is guaranteed, unless something was strange happened, like what happened when we went to Iceland when our upgrade got taken away. But it's just like you're basically almost guaranteeing that you're going to get your seat. So that's pretty much what you paid for. These women just got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been there when we're hoping for that and it's a full flight and everyone's
Mm-hmm.
screwed,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah. Wow, that's a good one. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a really good one. Okay.
Yeah. Quentin, sassy guy. I like him.
Yes. It's funny because the one that I got from him, like I chose it because I liked his response.
Ooh, okay,
So
okay.
okay, so let's go with that one. And again,
Go
this is
for
a
it.
little. It's not as light as the seat. Oh, apparently the
Oh.
guy was very serious about that. But this is a little bit more like a little bit like I said, a little bit more heavy. So, dear moneyist. 2 decades ago, my friend, who's now 67, divorced his wife and left her with 3 kids, 20, 17, and 14 years of age at the time. He left her for a much younger single woman. In the settlement, he transferred his share of his townhouse, which still had a mortgage on it, to his wife. He agreed to pay the mortgage payments in lieu of child maintenance for his youngest daughter. He paid the mortgage repayments for about a year when he realized his ex-wife had taken on a new partner and he was living with them. He had a daughter who is now 16 years of age with his second partner. They bought a house together 10 years ago, which has a mortgage. He put all his money towards the mortgage. He is now separating from that partner and they are selling the house. So this guy's had 2 wives. He plans to nominate his youngest daughter as the sole beneficiary of his share, worth about $200,000 and also plans to leave her whatever assets he may have after death. His view is that the assets he now has been generated in his second life and therefore must stay with a child from the second union. He does not think that his three daughters from his first marriage are entitled to any inheritance from him, as he gave everything up when he had left them. Their mother, his ex, still owns the house and gets rental income from it, and unfortunately has not shared any money with their daughters. Man, this is a mess. Okay.
Yeah.
He asked for my advice, and I considered that he has already provided lavishly for his daughter from his second relationship. She will inherit a substantial amount from her mother's share. I considered that what assets he ends up with should be shared between all four daughters. He thinks that's not fair. What do you think would be fair? Let me know if you need like a little what are they, like a little recap.
Yeah, there was a lot of daughters.
Yes. Okay.
A lot of kids. So he's got two ex-wives.
He has four daughters total, three from the first one from the second wife. He gave up his share of the house and paid the mortgage on the very first house with the first wife. So in his head, he gave them that money.
Out.
Yeah, he gave them that money. So in his second relationship, second chapter, of his life, he thinks that all of that should now go to his last daughter.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, I don't really think this matters, but like his first ex-wife has not given any money to the first three daughters, but I don't really think that doesn't have anything to do with it. I don't know. I kind of don't feel like that matters.
Who's writing in? Is it the guy?
It's the friend. So
I think
the guy is asking this friend what he should do. Should he just leave it to his fourth daughter, or should he split it amongst everybody?
His other daughters?
Yeah, like whatever's left.
Well,
I told you it's not going to be a fun one.
That's messy. First of all, why you keep divorcing people? I mean, I know we talked about in our last episode, like, you can divorce people. Sure. Okay. I mean, you can have kids or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we never really went into, like, if you divorce and then there's the whole money aspect of it.
Yeah.
That's usually, like, the pain point of, like, those divorces, like, who gets what.
It's a huge topic. Like, and oftentimes people don't divorce because of it, right?
Yeah,
it's just like, forget it. Let's just,
Like it's too complicated, or you lose a lot more money, or whatever the case may be. He's considering the first marriage a wash because he's paid off the original mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how old were the kids when
he divorced? So it sounds like there was 20, 17, and 14 were the ages. And it sounds like, okay, so from what the article sounds like, so you know how, like, I don't know how much you know about child support, but you only have to pay until they're 18. Yeah. So I would probably guess that the 20-year-old and the 17-year-old, he didn't pay anything for, because they, when the proceedings happened and all that stuff, they were probably, I mean, for sure the 20-year-old, the 17-year-old was probably too old at that point to get any money. And it was just the 14-year-old that he had to like provide for. And it also said that someone else moved into the house, like the ex-wife got a partner after a year and moved into the house. So the friend stopped paying. So he only paid like the mortgage for another extra year. But I guess maybe what they were saying was like the equity when he was there, and he paid towards it when he was there. So basically, the very first house, he basically gave up and continued to pay for a year. So he thinks that he doesn't owe the first daughters anything because he already gave them that. So he's thinking of just leaving everything at this point to his fourth daughter.
Even though he's divorced from
her mom.
Again. Or like a different lady again.
Yes.
I guess because if he's just talking about the will, different type of contract or whatever to adhere to versus like a divorce settlement. Because like a divorce settlement, like literally that's it. It's what we agreed upon. This is what you get. This is what I get.
Mhm.
That's it. If you never agreed to like have any ownership or continue to pay support or whatever, if anyone has like custody or blah blah blah, it's like yeah, that gets figured out in settlement, and then you're done. I mean, as blunt as you could put it, you like washed hands and like
Right,
that's it.
right.
You're
Moved
done,
on. Yeah.
right? Money wise, at least. I mean, obviously, there's always family ties and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But to decide who you're going to include in your will, wouldn't you still consider like your family in general, whether or not you've divorced them?
Yeah.
And so, even though you divorced both wives and you both have kids, you have kids in both relationships, why would you only just give money to one daughter? I mean, if we're talking about owing money, I mean, that's different. But we're talking
Yeah.
about like, where does your money go? What you've
After.
contributed after. It's
Mhm.
not what you owe to them. It's how do you want to split it up? And it doesn't sound like he wants to split it up.
Mhm. I feel like it's like a an you're 100% right, and I didn't really think about it until you said it, but the divorce is a settlement, right? That's
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. An inheritance is a gift,
Yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
yeah, and regardless, they're still your daughters. And you
Yeah.
probably are like, it sounds to me, and Quentin pointed this out to in his response, that he probably like did not have a great relationship with the
Mm,
three. I mean, he left them for a younger woman. I don't
true.
know, the friend doesn't say that or whatever, but we could probably
The implications are there.
yeah, that so it's just like, dude, they're gonna hate you even worse at this
Yeah.
point for, like just do the right thing. Like they're all your kids. And it sounds like he's closer to the youngest one. It's provided her with a lavish lifestyle. So she's already gotten, some of it. And it's just like it's just weird to me. Like I just feel like, wow, that's kind
Hmm.
of crazy.
For sure. I
Yeah.
mean, it kind of does single out the newest daughter for weird reasons.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like money after you die.
Mhm.
It's not money now, it's a money after you
Right.
die.
And it probably won't help the relationship between those siblings. We
Hmm.
don't know if they have one or if they don't, but
Right.
that's going to cause a lot of issues if,
The rift is going to be
even bigger.
really difficult.
Yeah.
I don't know. What does Quentin say? You say he has
I
like a really
really
good
like I really
response.
like what he wrote. So
Hmm.
it ties into like how we were talking about how everything's just gotten so much more expensive. But
Hmm.
it says like, dear friend, it seems like he has not seen his ex-wife or children in 2 decades. He can't buy back that time. They may not want anything from him. He, of course, is entitled to leave his money to whoever he wishes to, and reading between the lines appears to have a close relationship with his youngest daughter. So why not leave his 200,000 to his favorite? Because he can do something in death that he perhaps didn't get a chance to do so in life. Recognize all four daughters and give them the respect and acknowledgement they deserve. Of course, this has very little to do with money, but a small portion of his estate could help his daughters with a down payment on a house or their education.
Hmm.
There's more to it, but that's what I really like took from it, is that it's so expensive to live these days, right? Like
Yeah.
we're talking about freaking eggs and like gas and every little
Hmm.
thing. And I sometimes think about like, we're both very fortunate. Like we own our homes and we were able to do that long time ago, because I don't know if we would be able to like afford to do so now. But like
Right.
exactly what Quentin said, like you could give them something to help them for their future. That's such a big thing. So I really like how he said that. It's like a way to like, honor your daughters after you're passed. And I just really like what he said. But it's just like, my God, like 200,000 divided by four people, like that's $50,000. That's a lot of money that could
Yeah.
really go a long way for people. So yeah. And then he just goes off to say, with a will, we all have one last chance to make amends and to make a statement that is bigger than any of the missed opportunities or broken relationships during our lifetime.
Given that the guy has gone through two divorces, maybe he's just not that type of guy. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, clearly, that even after 2 decades of divorcing, oh wait, he married. It was 2 decades of
Yeah,
not
it's
seeing
probably
his
been two
family.
decades since he has been with the first family, because the younger daughter, I think, is like in her teens already.
Yeah,
So the youngest daughter is already in her teens. So
yeah. Think of the right thing is to split. I mean, maybe I'd even give him if. cut him some slack. It feels like maybe a majority to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
oh sorry, majority to the newest donor, and still some for the
Yeah,
other
yeah, but to give
kids.
everything, and the settlement is like for the wife, right? Like for the
Yeah.
first wife, like the support and all that stuff.
Hmm.
You're giving it for the kid, but it really goes to the wife because that's who is paying for all the expenses for that child. So the kids didn't really get it. I don't know, just like this is for them. This is for your kids, not part of a settlement or anything like that. So yeah, I just
Yeah.
saw that and I thought that was like really interesting how
Yeah.
people, but man, I mean, clearly this guy doesn't really make very good decisions.
No. Or
So,
I mean, everything does seems to be questionable,
yes.
not very
Yeah.
responsible.
All right, you guys. So we have one more article, and this one is not a moneyest one. This is actually Am I the Asshole? And I thought this was super funny because it's very relevant to what is going on these days in our
Mm.
like just like everyday life in our society. So the
Hmm.
article is: Would I be the asshole if I ask for the eggs I paid for than the generic ones from my roommate? I don't feel like the person wrote it out properly. So let me explain.
Hmm.
Okay.
Expand,
Okay.
please.
This might be petty as fuck, but please tell me how I should go about it. So, my roommate, male 21, messages in the group chat and says, "Hey folks, I've used someone's eggs from the fridge and I will return them when I get groceries tomorrow. When I
Oh
got
no.
home, I saw they were mine and they were all gone except for one. I don't remember how many there were in there, but I didn't use that much and there was a box of 12 eggs. Now, I don't have a problem at all that he used them, but the problem is that he has done this before with other groceries like veggies and eggs and all. When he replaces them, he gets generic stuff like the cheapest option. I'm very particular about my groceries. I take the time to choose what variety of apples or tomatoes or eggs, etc. I want. Most of the times I get the more expensive version just because I like it better. Last time he borrowed some tomatoes. This is funny. I'm like
I want
chuckling because it's
tomatoes.
hilarious.
I
Okay.
put some tomatoes and some eggs.
Last time he borrowed some tomatoes, and they were those heirloom tomatoes that I got from the farmer's
Oh,
market. And when he
fancy.
replaced them, he got the normal ones, to which I just said, "Don't worry about it. I don't want those tomatoes." Now, this time, the eggs that I use are the organic free range extra large eggs that they're more expensive than the normal ones, but I don't
Hmm.
want just the generic ones just because, that's what he gets. So, would I be the asshole if I say anything about these things? Or if not, what should I say to him? I don't want to make it too awkward, but I would still like to address it. So he put like, this is the update. Okay.
Yes.
I messaged him before he woke up in the morning and said, "Can you get the exact same ones, please? You can find it at X store. They are better quality, and I just prefer to use these. You can replace however many you used."
So he went the passive aggressive route.
Okay. First off, it's ridiculous, but also with the price of eggs, it's not ridiculous.
Ooh. This is a good one. No, honestly, I can see where the guy is coming from.
Yeah, I
Okay.
get to.
I mean, yeah, you're paying for quality. Someone's using quality. Maybe they don't really
Mhm,
care that it's quality, but they are
mhm.
using quality.
Yes.
And you don't get that back in return. I don't think he's an asshole.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like it's because of the price of eggs. I think like if eggs were still like $1.99 or $2.99, which they were just a couple maybe a year or two ago, like Trader Joe eggs were like $2.99 a couple years ago, they are not that price anymore. And then you
Hmm.
on top of that, what are the regular eggs right now are like without any discounts, just from the I think they're like $7.99 or
Ooh,
$8.99
that's
just for a
crazy.
dozen of like regular eggs. The bougie eggs are like double that price at this point. So I think that I don't think he's the asshole either. I think at this point, because of the price, it's so totally okay to ask for the specific ones. Like, I don't think he's an asshole. It might be a little, I don't know if I would call it a little petty, but fuck it. They're expensive.
Maybe it sounds petty because he's let it go on for so long.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like this is a common thing. I feel like if not just like eggs, but like with other things, it's Are you okay with settling for less for like reciprocating like actions or whatever?
Hmm.
And I mean, whether it's, yeah, eggs, expensive eggs, or even just like certain tasks or whatever. I don't know, because I kind of like relate on the fact of if you're investing time and money to get quality things and someone willingly uses it, I feel like it's just common decency as a human to get the exact same thing because
Hmm.
you use said item. Just because you can
Yes.
find a cheaper thing, um, doesn't mean like you should.
Should,
Like I
yeah.
feel like that's so scummy of you.
Hmm.
Like
It's
then just
cheap.
buy your own cheap eggs and use them, you
Yeah, yeah.
know?
I think that if I borrowed, I would want to give back the exact same thing. Like
Sure.
exact same thing. And
Something
I
of same quality.
rarely, like, it makes me think, like, obviously you and I, like, well, we say we have roommates, but they're our spouses, so we share food, and this thing, it's not an issue. But like, Noah has a roommate, but I don't think they're guy. Well, this sounds like it's a guy. I don't actually, you don't know,
Ooh,
right?
what if it's a carrot and then
Yeah.
what
So
do?
like Noah, like
Can't
I
assume.
don't think, yeah, probably wouldn't care. Yeah, for me, if I had borrowed something, I would want to return. Like it's kind of like you borrowed an espresso pod from someone. We all have, like, you had a roommate and you borrowed like an espresso pod. Like the espresso
Yeah.
pods aren't cheap. And then you came back and gave them back like a Dunkin' Donuts.
I was
Like
gonna say give him like an instant coffee
yeah,
packet.
or like a like a generic like Walmart one or whatever. Like I feel like I have an espresso. Like, why are you giving me like generic?
Oh,
What if someone borrowed an espresso one from me and I came back with, they came back with like a Walmart brand one or a Dunkin'. Dunkin's fine. I think like people actually like Dunkin'. So, but there's like generic ones. Like, I don't know. That's probably a bad example, but I don't think that they're the asshole. And I think like at this day and age, it's pretty valid because of how expensive. Like, guys, eggs are insane at this point.
yeah. I think if it was established from the beginning that like, oh, if you're gonna use these eggs, get the same eggs. I mean, most likely he would stop borrowing your eggs because he doesn't want to pay for them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
He could just
like,
go out and get his own.
yeah, now it seems like, ooh, I don't want to pay for your bougie eggs. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
buy my generic brand eggs. And then we'll just have two sets of egg cartons.
Yeah,
What if they just went whoop,
I know. How would you know? I don't.
let's
Mon,
swap them?
Do you buy the bougie? I don't buy the the regular eggs are expensive enough.
I actually had this conversation with Jay, like on some of our grocery trips. Yeah, I would kind of just go for like the generic stuff. To be honest, I have a
Mhm.
Keurig and I use Amazon branded K cups. Okay, so
Oh shit! I just shamed your Keurigs or your.
it's fine. I don't care. But like, if you were to give me an espresso pod, I mean, obviously I can't use it because I have a Keurig. But I gave you back a Keurig. That's a slap in the
Mhm.
face, you know.
Oh
But
my god.
I would go for the generic thing, like even like generic cereal, and Jay would
Mhm.
be like, "Shame. Why would you do that? Buy the brand name one." And I'm like, "It's the same." And he's like,
Yeah.
"It's not. The quality is different." It's own money that we're sharing
Mhm.
and we're agreeing
Mhm.
to buy for our household.
Mhm.
This is like a weird roommate situation that I know
Yeah.
usually roommate situations are hard. It's different. And I don't know. I end up buying like the brand stuff because it tastes the same to me anyway.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm not gonna stress out over like $1 versus an egg that's $1, you
Yeah.
know?
I feel like Av is a huge proponent of generic stuff. He
Oh,
loves generic stuff. I
okay.
guess, but certain things like he won't buy like generic, like, so like we always talk about, like Av is a big like Coke guy,
Yeah.
or like, but he's cutting back, guys, cutting back, but like,
Okay,
he's a
okay.
big Coke guy. So that's really big for
Oh.
him. But like everything else, like even medicine, he buys like generic, like Tylenol. But yeah, for me, like the last time I went grocery shopping, and this will go into like our next little thing that we're gonna ask, but
Mhm, mhm.
is just like, what are you trying to do? Like, I to save money, I realized like everything I bought was generic. Like
Oh,
the spaghetti noodles, like the
sure.
everything's so freaking expensive. And just to share something super funny about eggs, like a couple of weeks ago, Mon, Jay, and our other friend came over for dinner. I made dinner for them, and
Yeah, and
we
it was
needed eggs.
delicious.
I don't know. I need a redo, but we
Ah,
used eggs. And I freaking dropped one on the I was like I dropped one on the floor and like we weren't able to use it. We
we
only
went
had
silent. It was just
yeah,
the
yeah.
egg.
It's just really like eggs right now where we're just I we came back from the Philippines and I went grocery shopping and I texted my friend I'm like, what happened to the eggs? Like
I
first off,
left and it was
yeah,
cheap.
yeah, like not even that, but you know how like you can't find them sometimes right now. Like
Hmm.
you can't find them. And then if you do, like my mom found some for me at the Asian market for 11.99. I was just like, what? Like, yeah, that's
That's
like
crazy.
2.5 times like what it was previously or whatever. But anyways, yeah, that's just so for us, Mon, not the asshole.
No, not the asshole. Let us know what you guys think. Do you think this guy's an asshole or no? Like, would you give up your quality organic extra large eggs for some small, who knows where
Generic
they came from, from like Sunnyside,
Sunnyside Farms.
Sunnyside Farm?
Yeah. You know, I saw this thing, like read this article today. I don't know where I read it, but about like how people are starting to like want to farm chick like you know how like people have like chicken coops, like regular
Hmm.
people like you and I could have a chicken coop in the backyard and like people don't know what they're doing, but they're getting into it because eggs are so expensive and it's very irresponsible because you got to like know how to take care of them and all this
For
stuff,
sure.
but it's just something about like how please if you're going to start this just because eggs are really expensive,
Yeah,
do so responsibly and take care of your chickens or
for
something like
sure.
that. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
do you
no
think that
joke,
these
man.
people in the chicken industry for years that they've been trying to avoid this bird flu thing and
Yeah.
they go through extensive protocols to make sure that doesn't happen? What
Mhm.
makes you think that you in your DIY journey and your DIY
Yeah, yeah,
chicken and eggs is
yeah.
like is safe from the bird flu, okay? Like
Right, right.
you wouldn't want to eat it. What if you brought that upon yourself, okay?
For sure.
Like,
Oh my god.
anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Okay.
digress.
Okay. Okay, Mon.
um,
So to wrap up our
yes.
episode,
Hmm.
hope you guys enjoyed those articles. Are you guys doing anything I mean, like what we're saying is like everyone I talk to, we talk to our friends and we all know like life is really, really expensive these days. But are you trying? I know it's hard. You're leaving for your secret trip. Are you
Yeah.
guys doing anything kind of to save money? That's our question, our OA question of this episode. Or what are you
Yes.
doing to save money or, to watch your spending?
I will say my thing is kind of it's a very niched situation, but traveling in general is like so expensive. Like to get to a place is expensive. But, the conversion of USD or whatever, it's cheap. So
Mhm.
like you go there to buy more things cheaper. But in my situation, I have a very privileged situation where I use standby. So it's kind of going back to that first article where sometimes if there is a free seat, an open seat, no one bought that seat on that plane. I fly standby and I'm allowed to get on this plane for
Mhm.
essentially free. Now if I feel like traveling man knew about my situation, he would be pissed with
Oh,
all of the standby
hey,
flights.
especially when you guys have gotten onto the business class or the first class. I mean, that's a
Yes,
privilege right there. Oh my
for
God.
sure.
Imagine you were right
Yes.
in
I
United.
mean, I don't know if this is going to stir people's pots or whatever, but yeah, sometimes the opportunity to get a business class seat is there because no one paid for it. No
Mhm.
one's occupying it. So me stand by with their zero ticket flight. I have to pay taxes, okay, on it at least.
Mhm.
But yeah, I can fly to certain places with little to no fee compared to other people, and I feel like that saves a huge
That's a
buck.
huge, yeah. In your
Um,
defense, so I want to say in your defense, standby also can suck at times where
oh yeah,
you're not guaranteed a seat. It's not like paying people are getting kicked off to accommodate you. No, that's not a thing. So
yeah,
it's like, you're taking your chances there too. You have to do your research. You have to know when it's like,
Timing's right.
the timing when it's not busy and all that kind of stuff. So,
Sure.
it's not like
There's
someone's
risks.
getting shafted
There's
because
cons. You can get
yeah.
stranded on
Mhm.
your flight for many days if the flight schedules are super busy, super booked. So it's not without any risks or cons, but I would say that's probably my one way to save a lot of money, or
Mhm.
else I wouldn't be going anywhere, to be honest.
That's you're very fortunate, but yeah.
Yes, I am very privileged, very
Mhm.
fortunate. Thank you to my dad
Yeah. I
who
mean,
works for an airline.
yeah,
Someone actually did work for this, okay?
yes, he worked. It's not, it's his perk, right? Like he
Yes.
worked for many, many years.
And he is
So
gifting it to me, much
yeah,
like the guy was giving his inheritance.
hopefully he gives it to his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Anyway,
sure. Okay.
yes. What about you? I mean, I know you kind of like said like buying generic stuff, but
Yeah,
like, is there
I think
anything?
I don't know if I told you this, but like
Mhm.
after the holidays, I mean, I know like I shared this. We, have a lot of gifts to shop for during the holidays. We have a lot of
Yes.
godkids, family, and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And gifting is my like love language. So I really
Hmm.
love like putting thought into my gifts. So it's a very expensive time. And on top of that, we also went on a really big trip that was
Hmm.
not free. So no free flights for us. We spent a lot of money at the end of last year. I mean,
Yes.
for sure. So I tried to do this thing. You've heard of it like a no spend January,
Hmm.
where, just like clothing or like, just like, do you really need that? Or like just trying to cut back on like, I was going to tell you guys this, but this didn't really work because we saw each other and ate out of like a pretty good amount of times
Oh,
in
sorry.
January. But I wanted to do like, hey, let's do a no spend month where maybe instead of going out to eat, like I did cook for you guys, but
You
like,
did.
but we also went out to eat a bunch of times this month, which we
Balance.
often do. But I mean, just stuff like that, like frivolous things like we are also going on a trip in a couple months. And how usually like when you go on trips, you are like, oh, I want this new outfit, or like, those
Mm.
memes about bringing it's just like, no, I don't need that. I have plenty of clothes. Like I think that's the thing is just I really try to like not spend money on clothes or like we make a ton of like food for dinner. There's always leftovers. Like just bring it the next day and eat it for lunch. Like you don't need to like buy food every day
Yes.
or like even make coffee like instead of going to Starbucks every day, which is insanely expensive at this point. Just make it with your an espresso at home. Like why do I have an espresso if I like am always going to Starbucks? Like stuff like
Yeah,
that.
like I'm
So
good with my 60-cent K cup from Amazon, okay?
yeah, I'm just trying to be mindful of like expenses like that. Even
Yeah.
like, I've always talked about this, how like the past couple years, I barely watch TV. I always watch YouTube. So like, why do
Hmm.
we need cable or
Cable.
whatever?
Hmm.
Just stuff like that. So I think, everybody with like just, this new year, we've got a new administration in the White House. I just feel like it's really just time to like just save as much as you can.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot. I'm trying to do a lot.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
good. I
yeah.
mean, as long as you're trying and
Mhm,
I know you said like we went out when you weren't supposed to like go eat out,
mhm.
but I think the fact that you still try even though like
Yeah. I don't think
there's
I made that a thing. I don't think I ever it was like in my head, but
it
I
was
never like
a
yeah.
a surprise. It's like, "Oh, sorry, we didn't mean to like eat out.
No,
You
no,
had
no.
a ban."
But remember what my thing is for this year is I'm not eating fast food.
Yes.
They messed that up
Now,
real quick.
well, it depends on how you define fast food,
Yes, yes,
okay?
yeah.
Is Jollibee a fast food?
Yes, like yeah, I only ate that though. That's like the only fast food, and I remember like not even eating it all the way because I was like, I felt bad, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna step away from this piece of chicken. But that's another thing. Like I think Ab is really big on fast food, and
Mm.
for me, I feel like one, it's not good for you. Two, it's really expensive now, so I'm just gonna try and no, not to judge people. Like Noah, I think eats fast food all the time, but for myself and for my health, like I just want to kind of scale back. So that was the only slip up was
Yeah.
Jollibee,
Whoops.
controversial Jollibee. But other than that, I've tried to like, stick to that.
I mean,
So
we can
yeah.
try doing a cook for you. Honestly, like, I think I would if I wasn't so self-conscious about like, what if you
Cook.
guys
Oh,
don't
I'm
like my
hella self-conscious.
food?
We could
I'll
just
try
maybe,
next time.
yeah, maybe we'll do it in March. So you're going to be gone for most of a good part of February, and then we're hopefully all gone in April. So maybe March we'll try to save money
Yeah.
for, another secret trip. We can kind of just try and just take turns like cooking or something like
Yeah.
that when we hang out.
Oh gosh, it'd be
Yeah.
nice if
Yeah.
it doesn't
You
taste
guys,
good.
tell us what ways
Give some
what ways are
tips.
you guys like, saving money? Like what are we all doing at this point? We can't be the only ones thinking that life has just gotten crazy expensive at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So please share with us if any of these articles like resonated with you.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know that airline one is hilarious.
Tell us what you think of a traveling man
Yes, yeah,
and
traveling man. That's
and
funny
the
how we
guy who won't give his will to other.
Yeah, it's so funny how we automatically thought it was a woman.
I know. Shame on me. Shame on me. I shouldn't have assumed.
Yes,
That's
yes.
my bad.
I automatic was just like,
I
what's
know.
wrong
I
with
put
this
the implication. I'm sorry. But
kid?
what do you think about the topics that we
Mhm.
discussed? Let us know your opinions on it. We love to hear them. We love to hear your OA opinions on them. So please send us an OA text message or leave us a comment on our YouTube channel or on our Instagram, DM us, all that good stuff. So we'll wrap up this episode. We hope that you guys truly enjoyed it.
All right, you guys, don't forget to follow, rate, and subscribe to our podcast. We're on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube. Let us know what you'd like to see more from us, but please like our videos if you're watching the videos, and please subscribe to us because it really helps our algorithm. So yeah.
Also, I forget that we mentioned it in the last few episodes. TikTok is back.
Oh yeah, TikTok's back.
So you can actually still follow us on TikTok.
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah,
but,
yeah. Dude, it was like not even 24 hours,
We should have
right?
just not said anything because
Yeah.
it literally came back the next day.
The next day. It's funny though. I mean, it's there
fine.
for a reason. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
fine. Anyway, yes.
All right.
Contact us in all sorts of ways. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
But until next time, friends, stay away.
Stay away in the best way.
The
Bye,
best
everybody.
way. Bye.
Save money. Eat at home.
Save money. I'm not gonna save money for the next month. But...
No, she's not. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.